What an odd position to be in. Enchanted, the live-action musical film that debuted more than 14 years ago, will be followed by Disenchanted, the sequel. Disenchanted will be released in 2022 and available to stream on Disney Plus, according to Disney. The sequel will have Amy Adams, Patrick Dempsey, James Marsden, and Idina Menzel reprising their roles. Stick around to find out everything you need to know about the highly anticipated Enchanted sequel. First, let's discuss the Disenchanted release date. While Disney Plus has kept us entertained for the past few months, it's wonderful to note that there are a slew of new Disney projects to look forward to, like the sequel to Enchanted, Disenchanted. Enchanted 2, dubbed Disenchanted, was one of the several upcoming TV and film projects unveiled by the production firm in December 2020, and show star Amy Adams has since provided a few major updates on the project. Here's everything we know so far about the sequel, including the release date, actors, narrative theories, and more. Exciting! The streaming service said that the sequel would arrive in autumn 2022 on Disney Plus Day, 12 November 2021. It's a magical time. Hashtag Disenchanted will be available on hashtag Disney Plus in the fall of 2022, but you can watch Disney's hashtag Enchanted right now. They announced it in a tweet, and cast members Amy Adams and Patrick Dempsey sent out a video message to fans as well. So what can we expect for the plot of Disenchanted? So the official premise has been released and goes as follows. Giselle, Robert, and Morgan relocate to a new house in the Monroeville suburbs 15 years after their happily ever after. Malvina Monroe, who has malicious plans for the family, is in charge of the village. Giselle wishes that their lives were a perfect fairy tale when challenges arise. Giselle rushes to save her family and her nation, the kingdom of Andalasia, before the clock strikes midnight as the enchantment backfires. Giselle and Robert fell in love and decided to stay in New York City, while Nancy and Prince Edward lived happily ever after in Giselle's mythical nation of Andalasia. However, it appears that the sequel will throw these plot lines into disarray. 10 years after her happily ever after, Giselle questions her bliss, accidentally turning the lives of people in the real world and Andalasia upside down in the process, says the logline for Disenchanted. Adams indicated in September 2021 that the sequel would contain a lot more singing and a lot more dancing, which had one drawback. I was in my 20s the last time I danced as much as I'm supposed to dance in this, and now I'm not in my 20s, she explained. It's different when you're in your 40s. When I dance, I look like I'm in my 20s in my head, but when I watch the replay, I'm like, whoa, that's not the same. Speaking of singing, Disenchanted will also correct a flaw in the first film by allowing Menzel to sing after her number was removed. Dempsey will also sing in the film, which will be the first time he's done so. Next, we look into the cast of Disenchanted. Another highly anticipated reveal, the cast of Disenchanted. Amy Adams has been confirmed to continue her iconic role as Princess Giselle during Disney's Investor Day. Then in January 2021, Patrick Dempsey of Grey's Anatomy stated that he will reprise his role as lawyer Robert. Eek! On Good Morning America, 15th of January, he remarked, "I just got this script for the second movie, and then I'm starting to go through and putting thoughts together." The star also said that Disenchanted could begin filming this spring, while hailing co-star Adams as wonderful. Idina Menzel will reprise her role as Nancy, while Gabby Baldacchino will play Robert's now teenage daughter, Morgan. Yvette Nicole Brown, Colton Stewart, Oscar Nunez from The Office, Jayma Mays from Glee, and Maya Rudolph from Saturday Night Live round out the group. Incredible. After discussing his wish to do so in 2020, James Marsden will reprise his role as Prince Edward. "They've been talking about producing that movie for a while," he stated at the time, "but I hope so. I hope we make it via Digital Spy. We've been duped before into believing it would happen, but it never did. It's something we should do before we get too old." Next, we have a bizarre fan theory. Now, there are so so many Disney fan theories that fly around the internet, but this one garnered a lot of attention, probably because it's so strange. Disney's films are set in fairy tale settings where true love triumphs over everything, and a happy ending is always just around the corner. Except if you're a bad guy, or Quasimodo. Anyway, one fan has proposed that there is a force in the Disney animation universe that assures its inhabitants' lives come out a certain way, thanks to the dimension-hopping setup of 2000's Enchanted. This force is known as the Tradition, and it has an agenda. Unlike the unbiased force that binds and permeates people in the Star Wars universe, whatever kind of storyline the characters are in, the Tradition assures that they act in accordance with the plot's requirements. You might assume that this isn't such a bad thing because Disney rarely ends a story on a sour note, but it also implies that no one has any choice. Giselle falls out of the Tradition's hold and out of love with Edward when she enters the real world in Enchanted. Giselle can obviously still feel the effects of it, which is why she can perform intricate musical performances in our world, but she ultimately chooses to choose her own destiny. On the other hand, Edward opts for the blue pill. He then returns to the animated world with Nancy in tow to give the Tradition the happy ending it so desperately craves, explaining how the two fell in love the moment they stepped through the portal's threshold. Now some crazy details behind the making. It was meant to be a lot more adult-focused. We are all familiar with Enchanted as a family-friendly story that parodies the conventional Disney princess formula while yet performing it flawlessly. However, that was not the original plan. In truth, the script's initial version was far more adult-oriented. Bill Kelly's screenplay was sold to Disney in 1997, during the heyday of raunchy comedies like American Pie and There's Something About Mary. His rendition of Enchanted was more akin to those films in tone. According to Entertainment Weekly, there was even a sequence in which Giselle gets mistaken for an adult dancer at a bachelor celebration. Kelly's draft was rewritten by the studio, resulting in the PG film that fans are familiar with. Kate Hudson and Reese Witherspoon almost played the lead role. Once Disney approved Enchanted, the search for an actress to play Giselle, the animated princess who transforms into a human and joins the real world, began. The studio examined a lot of major stars. In 2003, they considered Kate Hudson as a contender. Following an Oscar nomination for her performance in Cameron Crowe's Almost Famous, her career was on fire. Another A-lister mentioned for the role was Reese Witherspoon, a major big-screen romantic comedy star at the time. One of them was up-and-comer Amy Adams, who is best known for the independent film Junebug, for which she received an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress, and after that, the rest is history. The musical scene took 17 days to film. There are several memorable musical numbers in the film, but That's How You Know is by far the most outstanding. The sequence was shot at Central Park in New York City, and putting it together was a big logistical task. A total of 300 extras were needed to move around in the background, in addition to the 150 dancers needed to encircle Amy Adams and Patrick Dempsey. Everyone's movements had to be meticulously planned. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Kevin Lima described it as a military operation. The weather made things even more difficult. The sequence required 7 days to shoot, but it took 17 days since it continued to rain. The production could only take place on the rare sunny days. The two main actors had an adorable, very short-lived feud. Making a film entails a huge deal of pressure. Even pleasant people who get along well with one another can succumb to stress. When Amy Adams and Patrick Dempsey had a minor on-set squabble, they witnessed this. Even their fight was cute, in keeping with the movie's tone. It happened during a dancing sequence, according to Dempsey. Adams refused to wear shoes and fought his attempts to guide her. This ended in a situation in which his foot tore her toenail off. Those expecting to hear about a scream match will be disappointed, said the actor. We took a 15-minute break from conversing. She walked to her corner, and I went to mine, and then we returned and resumed dancing. And there you have it. Everything you need to know about Disenchanted, Disney's Enchanted sequel that has been highly anticipated. It's no secret that Enchanted captivated its audience, with fans falling in love with the main character Giselle. I don't think anyone was was really expecting a sequel, but we are definitely ecstatic that it is coming to the big screen very shortly. Make sure to let us know your thoughts down below. Are you going to be tuning in to Disenchanted? Do you think it will be as great as the first? Let us know. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss any of our new and upcoming content. Thanks for watching.